essentially inside of the Blue Water Inn in the afternoon of Egudic the 23rd. It's kind of one of those things. It's vaguely open to you all if you would like to actually try to accomplish anything else before. I think you're basically coming here for a night's rest before heading back out on the road so you can have the full day to travel to Kresk. That's the link you should have to click there, Key.
I don't think we have any open business in the city right now.
I mean,
Yeah, I
open
think
business and things you need to do are two different things.
the last thing we were kind of doing was we were sort of like looking into potentially using that scroll, um, and then to like find the stone once we got to Crest. But I can't remember. Was there something else we were supposed to do in town or thinking about doing in town?
But with the scroll, the person has to have been in contact or know where it was within a fairly short amount of time. So I didn't think we could use the scroll for that.
Oh, he posted up the spell, and it basically said like if you describe the item, even if you haven't technically like seen it or interacted with it, that it would like tell you of any such items or something like that of that type. I can't remember where it was at, but when I read it over, it made sense that Eric would potentially be able to use it.
Okay.
It's in the Discord chat. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I wish you guys had some sort of holy warrior who was a little more natural to cast that spell, but I definitely think, yes, Eric should be able to cast that. Um, but I think one of the big things was for you all to make sure to recognize that you need to be close to what you think is the item because it's within 1,000 feet. That to me was the biggest thing for you all to recognize was that you still want to be close to it. It's not like, hey, we're in the center of Barovia. Let's search all of this land.
Oh, I think I might put on those boots of striding and springing. If nobody else is that interested in them, they don't help my movement speed, but having a sweet jump distance could be pretty awesome for like a random moment or two.
I have no problem.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't suppose anybody else would be interested in them. I mean, they don't do a ton for me, but having a bigger jump distance could, in the right circumstance, be useful, I guess.
How about it?
Are you all set then, Key?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you want to tell the story before we get started?
Not today. My mind's a bit frazzled with that.
All right. Should have Flea with 7 inspiration, Nunya with 2, and Sarkis with 2.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So if you all have anything that you would like to do inside of Valakai, otherwise you can essentially take a long rest here and we will pick up with that next morning.
Word, I'm gonna put on those boots and attune to them.
So if you all are essentially preparing to leave at the kind of first break of dawn, where you start to see the first signs of light. Again, always a very gloomy light. It is a dim light. There's not really anything sun-like about it, but you all can go about your day, get started, and if you would like to essentially head out as soon as possible. You can go directly to do, 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 do. Those names look really wrong. Oh, yep, that's why. Those are the wolves. You can go directly to Irwin and get prepared to leave with the wine on the back of their wonderful horse. I don't have its name in my notes right now. Drusilla. Any plans before you leave? Otherwise, you guys can you could munch on some rations on the way there and take a little bit more time to have a breakfast and then head out on the road towards Kresk.
I would rather get out sooner than later, just in case we have to turn around for some reason.
Do we have any interest in trying to speak to the Vistani at all, or anything to try to find out any more details about where the stone is? Or are we like pretty sure at this point in time it's in Crest?
Why do you think the Vistani would know?
Well, maybe not necessarily just the Vistani, but maybe like more like the Fanes is really what I should have said. Like trying to speak to like Madame Ava or the Seeker.
That would be too easy.
I feel like if we're going to ask anyone, the Druids would probably be the better option.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Do we have a way to contact the Druids at all, or not really?
Every time you found the Druids have been in the Old Woods. From what you know, one of their main haunts is Umbridge Hill, which is that location to the southwest of Wizard of Wines. But otherwise, you've basically found them occasionally wandering through the woods.
I don't know if it'll actually work or anything, but I think I'm gonna try before we depart in the morning to like contact Madame Ava through like meditation / like prayer and see if we can get any kind of like guidance or direction from her.
And what do you intend to ask?
I want to ask her basically. Well, I can just like RP it in character. So like in my meditation, I'm like, like in the movies, like spirit comes out of the body and enters like the plane of like higher plane of existence. Madame Ava, I'm reaching out to you. I don't know if you'll hear me or respond or even know the answer, but we are headed to Crest in search of the final stone to free the third Fane. Your your sibling. Any guidance along the way as to where we would find the stone, who has it, or how we could zero in on it would be greatly appreciated. Perhaps the Druids would know, or some other entity that you could point us to, or perhaps you yourself could help to guide us. If you can hear me, please, any information would be helpful. You want me to do some kind of roll?
Yeah, you can do a religion with advantage. So, you'll see a faint image that resembles what you know Madame Eva to look like. She's still kind of a very short, small, like little old lady sort of fashion. Still in kind of like gaudy, eclectic clothing, just draped with like many layers of different things. And it's almost like she's more solid the more you look at her with the corner of your eye. The more you try to focus on looking at her, the less you actually see of her form, and the more ethereal she becomes. And she doesn't specifically seem to be responding, but you're almost watching like her physical form and hear kind of whispers of her voice. And I think among what you'll hear is something sort of to the effect of, "Your path is before you, young one. Follow the cards, follow yourselves, and follow the way. Our powers are yet weak while we are separated. We are strongest where you freed us." And I think that would be, like many messages, not like a single kind of line across to you, but kind of many messages of like this wispy, ethereal voice that's just kind of like floating through your head, more than that she's actually talking to you. And I think that's what you can have for that.
I have felt Madame Ava's presence in my meditation, and I think I think we are on the right path. We need to stick to the plan, go to Kresk, and perhaps there we will find the answers and the stone. Is there anything else we should do before we go, or shall we depart?
Yeah, let's go.
Let me have somebody roll a D100 for me. I already got it. Thanks, though.
You guys pretty much rolled the same. That's crazy.
So heading out of Valakai with Drusilla, and you all are situated um, with the wine on her back, kind of like strapped kind of across her, and heading out of town. Do you all have like a general kind of marching order that you're going while you're traveling with the horse right now?
Hold it. I thought they had a wagon as a cart for the horse as well.
I'm going with no because I've described it as a horse just with the wine on its back.
Okay.
I'll go in the front.
I feel like when you guys had access to the wagon, it was when they were at the Wizard of Wines. That's what I
Okay.
feel like you're probably thinking of.
Oh, I might have just said wagon there, also in the pre-thing. Just like mentally saying that, thinking that.
Yep, and I have no interest in correcting you guys when you recall something incorrectly. NPCs, yourselves, everybody in game can give false information at any time, even if they don't mean to. So Sarkis out front. Where are Nunya and Flea traveling in relation to Drusilla?
I'll pick up the rear.
Probably close to like the reins.
Gotcha. Left side or right side of Drusilla?
Right.
And I'll be towards the left.
I thought you said behind.
Behind to the left.
So as you all walk and leave Valakai behind, you pass through like the last few of the houses that are outside of the city gates. This will be one of the first times that you actually see some guards returning to their posts. With a little bit of time, it seems like the city is getting closer to what it was when you first saw, where there's actually like a bit of order to things. You've not returned to speak with Lady Petrovich, but you probably have a pretty good understanding that she's restoring a semblance of order from when she was the Baroness and is now the Burgomaster herself. Um, and progressing forward, kind of few hours go by without too much issue, and
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
no, go for
Before
it.
we leave town, do we have any interest in touching base with her? I forgot that we actually only spoke to her brother. We haven't actually talked to her since she like left off after all the cultists.
I mean, I would say leave that as a thought in your mind that you guys like put it in your notes that you guys should go and talk to her. Although I guess realistically, I give you the clue as you're crossing by the actual guards. So if you'd like to turn with the recognition, like, oh shit, there's actually guards. We've not seen this for weeks, or maybe a week.
Yes, I know time is of the essence, but perhaps while we're here, before we leave for, well, who knows how long, perhaps we should speak to Lady Petrovich. She may have some insights or useful information.
Can't hurt.
Is she the leader of this town?
She is. We helped her to restore order. Her brother is the what is he, pastor, reverend, minister?
Priest.
Her brother is the priest we spoke with. She she's a good person and she's native to these lands. She may have some useful insights.
Well, maybe we should give a letter of diplomacy to enter that one city you want to go to.
Yes, knowledge is power, and she may have some. So yeah, I think we know where her mansion's at, or her house is at, right?
Yeah, you all went one time to the Burgomasters. So you basically kind of do a U-turn, walk back through most of the town, pretty much getting back to the Blue Water Inn, and then you'll go south to make your way to the large loop that kind of loops around. The Burgomaster has its own little loop to itself. Otherwise, the town square is on that same loop. But you all can return there and eventually start to seek out the Lady Petrovich. I think you're gonna find the house in ruins. I think you'll find people are working on it because they're clearly like rebuilding. And I guess you'd probably just have somebody kind of point you down the street. Most of these houses are a little bit more regal. Like you can see there's like some level of more wealth closer to this town square. So maybe they point you a little bit to the south and just kind of tell you a couple houses down, you'll see the guards outside and ask for the burgomaster there. So you can walk just a little bit beyond, eventually make your way to the burgomaster. At first, there's a semblance of kind of denying you entry, essentially seeing people who are armed. They're not quick to let you in. What thoughts do you have as you meet the guards and they don't seem keen to let you in?
I mean, does it feel like we're walking up to like an armed camp kind of deal?
Like, are you talking to armed guards? Yes. What do you mean walking up to an armed camp? What's that mean?
Does it seem like it's,
I got cut off at but you guys do remember that this place was basically thrown into a revolution. Her house was recently burned down. Her husband and her child was killed. She went on the run, and you guys basically flipped the Civil War into her favor. You have keen mind. You should definitely remember all of that. What are you thinking, Flea?
Nah, you covered it. I picked up what I needed.
This place is a shit show, and yes, you are walking into it, and they don't want to let you in with weapons, but they also don't recognize you.
There is no danger here. We are close friends and allies to Lady Petrovich. We are good friends of her brother as well, and you may have heard of us. We are the ones responsible for the revolution, avenging the murder of her son and husband, and killing the Wachters. She will speak with us.
Does anybody remember the name of the two guards that you had met with her?
Oh yeah, let me just find the correct page.
I'm looking through my notes as well, so I'll give you the names if I can find them. But just to throw it out there, that's probably a really great place for you to start, is to actually call for those guards. I think it's a less good idea to try to get her to like vouch for you. You know what I mean? Like wasting the time of guards is the type of thing guards will do real quick. I got it. Mirabelle and Renfred. So, oh wait. Yeah. So I think if you guys call for those guards, you can eventually have them come out. One of them will return. Like Mirabelle will come out and tell the other guards and allow you entry. And they'll basically bring you into. It's a smaller house. It's nothing like super nice. And you basically get escorted inside. Once you're inside, you see what is in there is of a nicer kind of comfort level. But it's not necessarily like regal in a more traditional fashion. And eventually, Mirabelle will. Please, Sarkis, it's good to see you again. Oh, what, pray tell, can we do for you? The lady is busy. But if you require her for great need, I can certainly summon her shortly.
It's good to see you again as well. I see you have begun to restore order. We see the guards about and no more of the hooded figures. For that, I salute you. We are preparing to leave for Kresk in on an important journey, and we thought perhaps the lady may have some insights, some information regarding, well, perhaps we should keep it between us and her. But we do require her presence if possible.
Well, I will speak with her. Let her know that you request her present in relation to the town of Kresk, and we will see what she can do for you. Perhaps for lunch, if you return at noon, in the high part of the day. She just kind of looks up, glances towards the sky a little bit.
I, I, I know our. I know it's unexpected, and she is a busy woman. But if possible, we really are. We have time constraints. We need to go. If possible, please, could we speak with her now? Tell her it is in regard to the Fanes, to the stones, and to eradicating the devil from these lands.
You are aware of the Fanes. You are a far traveler.
Yes, yes, we are. We are very aware of them. We have freed two of them already. And we mean to free the third, the final, and to one day free the people of this land from the oppression of evil. But we must go.
Very few people, even those who are born of this land, are even aware of the old gods.
Indeed. And even those that are aware have little information, or the information they do have is of little use. We were hoping that perhaps perhaps she would be able to help us, to guide us, to direct us.
I have never heard my lady speak as if she was aware, nor had any decision to praise the old gods. It's might be something she has long kept to herself, and perhaps even forgotten in the days since the passing of her husband. But I am not sure what you are seeking for is an answer she has. What
You
do you,
seem. Oh, go ahead.
what do you hope to gain from her in particular?
You seem more knowledgeable than most of the stones. Perhaps we are here for you and just don't realize it. We we need to find. We have found the Huntress, but she, like the others, does not know that the Fane's trapped within her. We need to find the stone. We know where to take it and how to destroy it, but we need to find it. And no one seems to know where it is or who has it. We suspect it's in Kresk, most likely in the hands of the abbot. I think it's where he derives his power. abilities, whatever it is. But we're hoping that we might find some other information before departing.
Oh, why do you speak of stones? What do you mean? The cairns? The old lands? Where the sisters were worshipped?
Well, yes, the cairns are where the stuff. The in case you don't know, the three Fanes were banished from this plane. Each one trapped inside the stones. Their consciousness unable to recall their previous existence, trapped within a body in these lands. Only the destruction of the stones can free their consciousness and allow them to once again be the godlike entities that they are. We have so far, with the help of the druids, we have freed the seeker. No, yeah. Wait.
The Seeker and the Weaver.
We have freed the seeker and the weaver. But next, we mean to free the huntress. And we will.
What? The old gods were worshipped in old land, a swamp now, far south of us. The old hill that is below Ravenloft, and in a hill far beyond, where the druids keep vigil. Those are the stones where the sisters were once worshipped. But you speak of the stones as if you are looking for them, as if you are looking for a stone.
Yes, the stones where they were worshipped are the monuments. Their spirits are trapped within the wizard stones. That is where the Wizard of Wines derived his power from. The druids used this stone to create a giant tree construct, a powerful being. And only once they destroyed it and freed the spirit of the Fane were we able to realize the path that lie before us. We know that the third set of Cairn stones is near, what is it, a lighthouse? No, the windmill? Near the windmill. And we know that once we have the stone, once we have the spirit that is trapped within, we can take it there and with the help of the druids destroy it and free the huntress.
You should search out the Martikovs of the Blue Water Inn. Perhaps they know more about where these stones are.
They are close friends of ours. We have spoken with them, and unfortunately, Davian and his son, the stone, they lost it years ago, and they don't know who has it or where it's went. Or they argue and fight about it, blame each other, but don't seem to know any any important details about its whereabouts or who may possess it.
And you say you believe the abbot gains power from this stone. When did the Martikovs say they lost it?
We suspect that it is where he derives his power from. We've heard of him doing some strange experiments and think that perhaps it has something to do with the werewolves. But it's only our suspicion. Do we know exactly when they've said like that they lost the stone?
I mean, on some level, you could understand that it's probably when Erwin was an adult and he would have been responsible for it. But no, the two of them bicker and bitch. They don't really clearly state.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I kind of thought that was the case. we don't really know when they lost it, and if we're wrong about Kresk, if it's not the answer, the only other suspicion that we have is perhaps the three women, the sisters that live in the windmill, the evil casters, the sorceresses, or witches, whatever they are. Perhaps they have it, but we don't know, and we've not been to Kresk, only heard stories of it, so we chose to pursue that route, but are hoping, we're praying that we can find some direction, some confirmation, as time is of the essence. They've taken the young girl, Sophia. The devil has her now, and the longer we wait to pursue her, the less likely we are to retrieve her alive.
But you do not know when the stone was lost. But the abbot has been in power for many lives. He was there when my father was a young lad. What power do these stones grant that would give him such long life?
We really don't know. Each one appears to be different, and we only suspect. We know little of the abbot, only that, well, we know little of him and have heard mixed things. We know he's powerful and suspect, partially just because we've not been to there since we came to these lands. But it's just a lead, just a hope, maybe. I the other stones, they seem to give different power. The one stone was what allowed the Wizard of Wines, allowed the Mardikovs to have the fertility of the land. It and the giant tree construct creature derived its power from another. We I don't know how you refer to her, but I dare not say her name out loud, but the one who nursed the devil, the witch from the swamp that you spoke of. We have destroyed her and retrieved the second stone. So we can only assume that where there is great power or mysterious strength and magic, that it is likely the final stone lies. And that is why we suspect Kresk. We suspect the abbot has it.
And Flea, Nunya, do you have any thoughts as to why or what you are looking for? And just to remind you guys, there is a huge fact that we need multiple frames of reference for this stuff. I'm prying for specific things from Justin, but without telling you guys what I'm looking for, it's painful to always roleplay with one person. Multiple pet perspectives are huge for solving problems. What are you all looking for? What do you all know? Are you sharing it with this person? Like, please try to roleplay with Justin.
Well, sir, how long has the abbot been there?
He has been there as long as I know. My father grew up in this land when he was still there, and for my entire life.
That is unique. Are there any others in this land like that? Other, of course, than the devil.
In particular, I don't know if I know of any. There are still those who have their gods, and perhaps they are extended by such things.
What of the Druids? What what do you know of them? How long have they been in this land?
You know quite well the Druids are the old people. They are the original inhabitants of this land. As far as I know, the Druids are the people who were here before all of us, before Lord Zelovich conquered this land for his father.
Where was their seat of power before the Lord came?
They have always worshipped at the stones of the Fanes.
What do you know of the castle of the undead knights? Is there any way the dragon?
I do not recall any dragons in this land. Don't believe my father collected notes on one.
What were the name of the order of those knights? I don't remember.
Oh, my bad. That's what I was looking for. Um, the silver vision of dragons in the rising sky is what I have written down from the cards. But I'm looking for the name of the castle right now.
Argenvostolt.
Argenvolstholt, the dragons that look over at the statues, the silver dragons. Do you know anything about them? We've only a little bit about the curse, and they seem to have great power, but I for some reason it doesn't seem like that's the place for us to go.
My father was interested in the old ways, and he collected many things on the Sisters Three. I myself have not left Valakai and only have the remainders of his notes that amuse me, memories of tales that he told me. That is why I know of the old gods. I do not know of this Argenvost.
When you speak of the Sisters Three, are you referring to the Fanes, or are you referring to the inhabitants of the windmill?
The Fanes are those three locations where their stones are. The Sisters Three are the Weaver, the Seeker, and the Huntress. Any thoughts at all, Key?
I'm assuming each location is like specified to a specific sister.
They are indeed, yes. The old hill was the weaver. Wait a second. The old hill was the seekers. The weaver was within the swamp, and the huntress in the mountains.
All right, so out of game, we know where the 3 sets of stones are at, like the Fanes, as you just referred to them, the Cairn stones. The druids had the stone, and it was nearby on the hill, so it was close by. The stone was to the Fanes or to the ruins. The second one, Baba Saga had, and that was close by to the one in the swamp. So if the windmill is close by to the third set of stones, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the witches have the third one.
So, again, Flea technically remembers this. The first of the 3 stones from the Wizard of Wine was lost at some point during Erwin's life. The second stone was stolen by Baba Saga at some point right before you all got to the Wizard of Wines. And the third stone was taken when the Wizard of Wines was destroyed. The first stone that you all dealt with was that third stone. The second stone you all dealt with was the second stone. So you are looking for the first stone to have gone missing. All 3 of them were basically entombed in the ground at the Wizard of Wines. And again, you guys all should know that basically. So you track the first one to Umbridge Hill. I feel like I'm saying the wrong name with Umbridge Hill, but the second one to Berez. And then you're looking for the third stone, but the Fane that you will call upon the druids to destroy it is near the windmill.
Yeah, that
You got cut off after that. Let me get an intelligence check from all 3 of you. So, 2 things that I was looking for you all to share, which we're going to have Nunya bring up here, is that the first stone went missing within the life of Erwin, who is still a middle-aged man, which pretty much will tell you all that it is not simply the thing that the abbot gains his power from. And the third thing that I wanted you, or the second thing that I wanted you to share with her, with Mirabelle, is the idea that you guys know that these things animate inanimate objects. That having the stone inside of something brings life to something that is not living.
Oh yeah, I said that about the tree construct.
I mean, I feel like you were close to it. But when you guys are talking about them in that way, she, at least on some level, is able to confirm to you all that the abbot of Kresk has enjoyed whatever preserves his life for at least the generations of myself and my father. If Erwin lost the first of the 3 stones, it's not what gives the abbot his life. Or at least he should have still grown old in the lifetime of my father before he would have ever gotten a hold of the stone. If it creates life and he has used it, It would be some new construct of life. It seems to me that's what you are looking for. It's for something that has life, that is unnatural.
Then perhaps it is Argenvol's salt. Perhaps it is what keeps them alive. Oh man, can we recall how long ago they got like cursed and killed? I felt like that was like ancient times.
Offhand, I feel like that is Tumastrad information, and I think you've got that.
I'm thinking the dragons there, Sarkis. I don't think it's the knights. Be interested.
What are you saying?
Need to find out what the knights do to indoctrinate their new fellows.
You guys do not want to find out what they do, at least not firsthand.
No, but I mean, that could lead to some interesting stuff.
What is your actual
all I'm
question?
seeing in the Tomb of Strahd and the Tomb of Strahd Continued is like the history of like him, his brother, and Tatiana. Is there something more?
No, that's my mistake. I felt like that was something that you guys had in there. I don't think at present you all know when the people of Argenvost were basically put into the condition that they are in. I think the best clue that I can just give you guys is that from Flea's recollection, that place has been abandoned for quite some time. Like that is an ancient ruin.
I believe they also even said themselves that they've been fighting against Strahd for like centuries.
They did.
Then why didn't you guys tell Justin that right away? If you knew that offhand so quickly, Flea. Yeah, that makes 100% sense that I would have said that because, yes, they have been fighting Strahd since effectively he took over Barovia, and when he became the Count, he wiped them out of existence in a very similar fashion as to what he did to Berez, but before Berez.
They were like speaking about the mountains. Which mountains is that on the map? Is that the ones where the yellow line goes through towards like the swamp?
Who do you mean they were speaking about the mountains?
Oh, well, I feel like he just mentioned it, but then we also have heard of the mountains before. But I keep thinking that the windmill is where the last set of stones was. So is the Fane near Durst Windmill right there and the little mountains south of it? Or is it like that big group of mountains over to like the west? Or is it something completely different?
This map does a terrible job of showing it, but Ravenloft is, I think, also having the calendar there doesn't do it justice. But that is a mountain range that crosses by, basically includes Ravenloft, Mount Baratok to the north, and the windmill is kind of like the south end of it. So, like when Mirabelle was talking about the mountain Fane, the windmill is the mountain Fane. Like you guys have basically gone to the forest Fane, the swamp Fane, and then this is the mountain Fane.
And when we mentioned the windmill, we didn't really get much like feedback from it. Did that just kind of get like passed over, or does the guard that we're speaking to know anything about the windmill?
Um, they recognized the stones that you were talking about right away. But again, this is somebody who's basically going off of fairy tales of her father. She's not somebody like nobody travels in Barovia. You guys have met very few people who travel between places. The Mardikovs are one of them. Vasily is one of them. And like Strahd is one of them. Um, Other than that, like the only normal people who travel are the few hunters who kind of travel into the woods for food, as well as like the Vistani. Most people don't go like from place to place. So it also wouldn't be surprising that Mirabelle, who is a guard of the Valakovich, like family line, would never have left Valakai. She's basically spent her entire life like dedicated to protecting the Valakai family.
And we're looking for the first stone that went missing, and it probably went missing within like the last 20 to 30 years. Um, could we ascertain or have any idea if that had anything to do with the original haunted house that we went in or anything, or would we know if that was somehow relevant? Because that has like the deed to the windmill, and there was like some weird like ties between that and the windmill.
I think the main thing, like, I don't think you guys would necessarily draw that into the house. In particular, among the things that you found in the house was that the Dursts were worshiping Strahd and sacrificing people. Anybody who came near, they would basically sacrifice to Strahd. And I think at one point you all found the letter. I've since deleted it as far as like um, things go, like to conserve some of the space there. But among the letter that you found from the Dursts was effectively the thing that Strahd like wasn't pleased by what they were doing, but they were still sacrificing people to Strahd. Like that's what the basement was. Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things I've since lost when my hard drive crashed.
And none of the actual fortunes like really talk about the Fanes or anything like that, right? They're all like completely separate.
Yeah, the Fanes is 100%. This is a side quest of this whole campaign. The Fanes is something that has long since been dropped out of Barovia, and it's purely just a side thing.
So if we know Argynvostholt fell a long time ago, we can suspect that that's ruled out. We know that the abbot has had his power for a long time, and we don't know anything about like more recent like power or like all of a sudden he's exponentially more powerful. So we can lightweight rule him out as well. So at that point in time, we have still the windmill, something in the mountains behind the windmill that we don't know about, perhaps even going and visiting the Cairn stones or the Fane and trying to like communicate or find someone in that area, in the same way that like the Muriel of the Mardikovs was kind of like looking over the Fanes or like kind of watching out for it. Maybe there's like some sort of like person like kind of guarding or looking over them, because the Druids were kind of looking over the mountain or the Fane where the tree guy was. She was like staying at the Fane, watching over like that one and like Baba Lysaga. So maybe there's like some third entity, creature, or race or something like that that we don't know about or we're not putting together that is like kind of watching over that one. So maybe it's worth going there. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's definitely at this point an unknown to us. Everything else doesn't fit the timelines.
Well, we
We,
also never really got a chance to look further into the windmill because of the witches.
Is the actual Fane the stones? Like, I know they said behind the windmill. Is it like literally like 30 feet away, or is it just like a mile away, like kind of in that area?
I am not familiar with the windmill, but if I recall, my father spoke of it as if the hill itself was where the Fanes reside, and perhaps a ancient family from Barovia might have built another structure on that hill. But as to their relation, I am not sure. And you would not have seen, when you all went there, I don't think you had any reason to have seen the stones.
Well, then perhaps that is where we should go. It is closer. It is unknown. Perhaps that is the destination that we need to explore before we go to Kresk.
that's probably a good idea.
Okay, out of game, like out of character, Flea, would you consider using your clairvoyance like on this? Like if we're thinking about going to the windmill, doing like if we search for the Fanes, is it a good idea to go to the windmill and get like the woe or like the nay or whatever?
He's got
Yeah,
30 minutes. Hold up, Flea. You know that you have 30 minutes to make a decision. And that's how that clairvoyance works. Is searching the windmill a good idea? Like, that question is not something you're going to accomplish in 30 minutes. And that's the reason that's like a level 1 spell.
no, but we should be able to get north or south.
Or like if you ask it if we're searching answers about the stone, is heading to the windmill now a good idea, like type thing, you know what I mean? Not
That's part of what
necessarily.
that's part of what I was getting at. Choose your words very wisely, because you are asking a question that you are going to make a decision within 30 minutes of. So you have to make sure to phrase it in a way that is useful.
So what about something like, and this is completely up to you, Flea, it's your thing. What about something like, is heading to the windmill instead of Kresk going to help us find answers about the location of the final stone?
I feel like you would recognize the instead of Kresk as a dangerous part of that question. If we head east towards the windmill, if I head east, oh man, everything about that just makes me think you're going to get a null question. Is heading east towards the Durst windmill going to take me closer to knowledge of the stones?
Yeah,
You
that's
know
the
what I mean?
long.
Where your language is very, very important, because the choice you're about to make is like which direction of Valakai you're leaving. And that's what you are asking. Is like, is leaving the eastern side of Valakai the closest way to finding more information about these stones?
And I think when you say stones, we should specifically say the sapphire.
Yeah, I mean, or asking the stone of the Huntress.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I wanted to look up the spell earlier.
It should be on your character sheet under your feats. Actually, I think
Yeah.
it's under your spells.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's either going to be wheel, woe, wheel end, woe, or nothing.
So, like, keep it simple is heading towards the east and the Thirst Windmill, going to bring us closer to the Sapphire Stones location.
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe towards obtaining the Sapphire Stone, like something like that.
Yes. So I think it's
Any thoughts before he asks it, Nunya?
I think it's a good idea to ask, but wouldn't it be easier just like, is east or west the best? To find the sapphire, should we go east or west?
It's not. It's you're not getting a question like an answer like that. It's good or bad.
So it's not like so it's more of like a yes no type of situation.
It's wheel, woe, wheel end, woe, or nothing. So you have to ask it in a way like, is it a positive choice to do this? And you have to make that decision within the next 30 minutes.
Are we ready to go?
Are you ready?
I believe so.
Please, eyes roll into the back of his head.
What are you asking of Yog? If you are currently asking the question, Al, you are not pressing push to talk.
Oh, yeah, I was asking. Yeah, whoa, yeah, whoa. Is going this direction going to bring us closer to the stone we speak? The direction being the direction of the windmill, pointing with my arm in the general direction. Did that come through, or did you?
It's going this direction, going to bring us closer to the stone we speak, pointing to the east.
To the pointing towards the windmill. Yes.
I don't understand why you couldn't have just used the language that we talked about. Why didn't you say is choosing to go east and talking about the sapphire stone? I think you're going to get no response from all of the voices. They're all just going to be silent for the first time in a long time.
Okay, I'll use the exact same verbiage.
We planned it out for you to have that one opportunity, Al. Yeah, I don't want to be mean, but I feel like that's the whole reason why I tried to say, like, your language matters here.
Fair enough. Guess we head off to the windmill.
Yeah, like, I was even trying to help you guys through the language of that question. I felt like it was decided that going to the east and bringing up the sapphire stone were the key words to use, and they were the words you, like, specifically avoided. Any thoughts for Mirabelle before you all leave her presence?
Well, I guess maybe we gotta, if we're gonna go a different route, we gotta leave the horse and the ale and stuff. There's no reason to take the wine and the horse and all that with us. So I guess realistically, though, we can just go back to the Blue Water Inn. It's not like a hurry because like the time doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's like a difference of minutes in the direction you're going. Um, so yeah, if you guys go there, and if you take the time to ask Erwin when they lost the stone, he would basically be able to tell you guys kind of what you've already surmised. It was like 25 years ago. It was when he was a young man.
And does he know anything about the windmill or anything?
What question do you have for me about the windmill?
There are three sisters. We met one of them. She was some sort of magical caster, a witch, or something of the sorts. But too powerful. We left in a hurry. Could she or they have the stone? Is there some form of other construct or unnatural life in these lands aside from those which we've already encountered?
As far as I understand, they sell pastries to some folk for sleeping better through the night. I am unaware as to what they might have that could be some sort of uh, living construct. If they are the ones who I am familiar with, it's an old rundown windmill. And those sisters keep themselves barred up inside for protection.
And that windmill, it's near the Cairn stones. Have you ever seen them or heard of them? They're supposedly around that area near the mountain range.
Holy shit, rolling a D100 and I rolled a 1. Uh, like looks around the tavern to make sure like nobody's like inside, like asleep or anything. Oh, when we have people in that area, they keep an eye on the stones. It's not something we keep a watch on regularly, but they are just beyond where the windmill is created, perhaps a little closer to the forest.
Your sister, Muriel, she watches over the stones in the swamp and keeps a vigilant eye on them. The druids seem to watch over the stones on the hill. Is there some third party, entity, creature, race of people or something that watch over these stones?
Mary is not my sister, friend. She is one similarly affected as we ourselves are. But those stones offered a magical protection that she made use of to keep an eye closer on the witch of the swamp. All of these stones are closer to belonging to the druids than to anyone else.
My apologies. I meant no offense. I thought she had said her brother referring to you, but I understand you're just part of the same clan, but not related. Well, perhaps that is the answer then. We will leave the horse and the wine. We'll still need it in the future, I presume, but I think we're headed to the windmill to hopefully find the answers we seek. The three sisters that inhabit it, the ones that sell the sleeping sweets, do you recall, were they around or living there or anything prior to the stone being taken?
I'm afraid I was quite far away at the time. I don't believe I've known a time where there hasn't been a small group of women living in the windmill. But to tell you when they took up their abode, I am not aware. As far as I knew, those 25 years ago when I left the Wizard of Wind to make my way here in Valakai, they were there then, as they are there now.
One more question before we go. When you lost the stone, when it was taken, I mean, I do you remember anything about any details about who or what took it or anything that could be useful, clues as to who may have it now?
Of course, you would take Davian's side. You can go fuck yourself with the response that I lost the stone and just assume that it was me. Anybody who knows anything about what happened, it went missing, and I had nothing to do with it. My father has blamed me for it, and for it I have been ostracized. So, yes, sure, maybe I lost the stone, but I had nothing to do with it. It was buried in the earth for all of our lives. And what? I woke up that day and it was missing, so of course it's my fault. Davian can go fuck himself.
That's what I said when it was taken, not implying that it was your responsibility or fault. But were there any clues as to what or who? Was it taken magically? Was it dug up? Were there any tracks or prints or anything that would give you any idea as to who or what might have taken it?
Yeah, sure. That's what you were thinking. You just defaulted to me having lost it. Yeah. Everybody just goes to Davian, and they just want to assume that it was Erwin's fault because Erwin is not allowed back at the Wizard of Wines.
I see I have hit a nerve. I apologize that I misspoke. If if you cannot help us, if there's nothing you could recall that could help us to help you retrieve the stone and perhaps lift this problem between you and your father, then we will go.
I recall nothing of that time. I don't remember any reason that it should have been put on me as to why the stone had gone missing. I don't remember anything in particular that would have told me the stone had gone missing. What I remember was that it seemed an awful lot like our crops began to fail. In an entire field, we started to lose every bit of our finest grapes almost overnight. And Davian chose to immediately blame me.
Why would you be blamed? Were you the one responsible to look over it? Was it your shift or your portion of the field to tend to? Why? Neither one of you like to speak of it. I understand that it's a nerve that should be gently danced around, but I'm curious. Is why were you blamed?
Because he's a vile old man and he felt the need to blame somebody. And I was the closest at hand. I know of no other reason for why I have deserved such ire for so long upon no reason that has ever come forward to say that it was my fault that a stone would go missing from the earth.
All right, I'll say we just head that way.
Fair enough.
So heading out of the east gate, you all can head out of the morning gate. I feel like this is one of the first times since you last went to Sayre Falls to revisit the Vistani. Probably like 10 in the morning at that point as you go to leave. And you all can start walking across the road. On some level, that like whole trip is kind of upward as you're kind of hiking and crossing into the mountains and gaining higher and higher elevation. But do you all have any interest? Would you cut across the trees? That meant you were taking a more vertical path that might save you time, or are you all just looking to follow the road?
I think maybe just cut across.
Yeah, I would say cut across.
Like sort of like if we just traveled on the road, like east until there's sort of like that little break in the trees right there, and then just kind of cut like south to like kind of come up behind the windmill almost and sort of like peep around in the area to see if we found the stones before we actually got to the windmill?
Where do you see this break in the trees? You want to draw a line on it?
You see that like
Gotcha.
kind of red one?
So yeah, kind of looking over your map. You all basically figure you'll probably have like 2 or so hours on the road. And then before you start to do some of the initial kind of zigzags into the foothills of that mountain range, you can start to step into the forest and start to cross your way towards the windmill, and hopefully come up behind it. But assuming a relatively similar path pattern of Sarkis, Nunya, Flea.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so across the eastern route out of Valkai, you all don't end up with much of anything happening. You have a pretty simple walk as you start to climb like the first bits of elevation, and as you see the road start to turn a little bit to the north and start to gain a little bit more elevation, like a little bit more of an incline to it. You feel like this is a pretty solid time to start to turn yourselves to the south and start to try to cross this part of the old Svalich Woods and see if you are able to cut across and come up and behind the windmill itself.
I would like to like specifically be kind of like looking out for the actual stones, or like anything that would lead me to believe they're nearby.
From the description from Mirabelle, you could recall that you're basically looking for that hilltop, that the windmill was basically built in front of them. Like the closest way to those stones, the windmill's kind of like in the middle of it. So you're pretty much going to come up on the windmill before you have a chance to see the stones.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
So let me get a survival from. Looks like it's going to be Nunya. Oh, and what areas did you take as your proficiency?
Forest and coast.
Yes, I think you're just going to be able to absolutely mash that. I don't think you even have to roll. Why did you take the coast? You just don't want to maximize anything in a world where there's forest and mountains. You're like, I'm going to take the coast.
Because I didn't want to metagame my character too much, so I chose the coast.
No, you're picking up in the middle of a campaign. Okay, so yeah, it's your proficiency bonus is doubled. So you'll have the +3 more to that, basically. Or do you in particular have?
Has missed one of the options, Gavi or Keith?
Swamp was an option. So I would just add like an extra 3 to
So
that 14.
17. Yeah, that's surprising to me. Oh, because it doesn't know you're in a forest. That's why. Duh, I'm an idiot. Um. So I think do one more for me, Kavi. Or damn, it's been too long. Can we just call Nunya Kavi and pretend that they were sisters? Can you guys just call me Kavi? It'll be so much easier for me to get over her loss. One more survival though, please, Nunya. So as you all cut through the woods and start to progress towards the south, you have a pretty steep elevation change that you start to climb, and you're just kind of pushing forward. Eventually, you start to feel signs that you are getting towards. I didn't put the time there. 10. Yeah, my bad. It'll actually be a little bit past noon, so you're looking at about 2 o'clock while you guys are going through the woods, and you have a pretty good sensation that you're in the same direction, but not yet able to solidify via line of sight. And let me get one more survival.
I'll be right back. My dog's begging for food.
Word. Give me 1 second to look some. Yeah, so as you all are progressing forward, you're going to eventually come across a trail that seems to be kind of passing east to west through this little region. And you have a pretty solid sense that this is a Druid Trail, but it is not going in the direction that you necessarily need to go at this point. Any thoughts as what you would do if you encounter what you expect to be a Druid Trail that is crossing your path?
Which like is it like going from like east to west? Does it appear to be like like well traversed trail? Does it look like anything's been on it recently?
Yeah, I said east to west, where you guys are going north to south right now. If you'd like, you can do a survival. Otherwise, we can wait for Kavi and for Key and allow Nunyan to make a survival.
I'm back.
Yeah, so you are crossing at some point a Druid Trail that is crossing your paths, and it is like an east-west direction. Whereas you all are going north to south right now. Can you do a survival for us, Kavi? Nunya? It's probably been traversed within the last 10 days, maybe leaning towards about 7 or so days. It seems used, not necessarily well traversed, but in the long run, it's kind of like the minimum result of people who probably travel through the forest pretty regularly. This is probably the druid equivalent of a highway.
So
You
it's
guys,
sort of like if we're on the red line that I drew right now, does it look like it sort of just is like basically like a cross then? Like a plus sign?
Yeah, imagine it like that, basically.
But we don't get the impression it's like leading anywhere in specific. It just sort of crosses the path where we're at.
I would say if it's leading somewhere specific, it's not leading where you guys are going.
Well, we appear to be at a crossroads. We're headed to the destination, but there's an argument that it wouldn't be a bad idea to find a druid or two, and although it's been difficult to communicate with them in the past, if we were to find the right one, the higher ups, the magic users, appear to have a spell that they can speak our language. Maybe we could try and find one, maybe a camp or just one in passing. Search for some animals. I could be worth a shot, as they appear to be the keepers of the stones and the guardians of the Fanes.
Any thoughts on that, Flea?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Roll an intelligence with advantage, Flea. And Sarkis, please roll an intelligence.
As always, 5 or less for my intelligence score. That's with my +1.
Can you roll an intelligence with advantage, Flea?
I did once. I guess it didn't go through.
What'd you get?
You should see a 24.
You distinctly remember Sarkis telling you about his meditation with Madame Eva, and that they are strongest inside of the stones. If you go to the Fane that you are approaching, that's a pretty surefire way that you can contact her, and she can contact druids if that's what you're looking to do. Otherwise, you guys are looking for druids who passed this way 7 days ago.
Sarkis, remember what we were discussing? So think about it.
Nunya, do you have any thoughts which direction you guys should go? Push on? Go to the east? Go to the west?
Well, if we're not detour, I say we should keep going the same direction we've been heading.
I agree. We should stay on track, and when we find the Fane, we can find the druids, and perhaps, with a little luck, the sapphire as well.
So pushing forward, heading on to the south.
Yes.
So a little bit past where you found that trail, you all are going to come to an area where the forest starts to not necessarily level out, but it's going to lose a large amount of pitch as you start to gain that sensation that you are actually cresting out of this little kind of like mountain slope, whereas like you guys have probably traveled maybe a third of the distance of what you've left Valakai from, but half of the time. And you guys have probably gained just as much elevation as you have like away from Old Svalich Road. Um, so Flea would basically recognize you're probably at about like 4:30ish here, as you all are going to start to come to this area. And without too much effort, you're kind of just looking for the trees to slowly give way and see the first signs of the windmill, or potentially the stones themselves. But let me get a perception check from all three of you. Yeah, we'll do double proficiency for yours there, Nunya, so it'll be a 26. I don't think Sarkis can beat that. Oh shit, Sarkis could have with a nat 20. Yeah, so Nunya will be the first to see the backside of the windmill and one of the wings high above as you all start to crest out of this hill, and the trees start to give way and you start to actually be able to see for a ways here. And you will see the first signs of the windmill. Probably about 5 or 10 minutes later, you'll start to see like the full extent of like the upper portions of the windmill before you start to see the first of the stones in between yourselves and the windmill. Probably still a ways off. The windmill itself is probably, say, like a half mile or so away from you still. And the stones are pretty close to that distance. But at this point, you're kind of leaving the forest. There's not a whole lot of cover between the forest and the actual stones at that point. But what in general would you all like to do as you start to gain sight on these two locations?
I think it's time to move stealthily. Let's move stealthily and not give ourselves away.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So just moving forward, let me get stealth rolls from y'all. So as you all are moving forward, describe to me what you are doing. What are you looking for?
Sarkis, do you see anything? Any clues as to where? I'm not seeing anything.
You didn't ask to see anything, Flea. What are you looking for? Like, describe to me what you want to see.
Do we see any old trails away from it?
You and Nunya can do survival checks.
And you said we do see the stones at this point in time?
Yeah. By the time you guys chose to stealth, you already had seen the stones. And what are you looking for with old trails? Like, do you want trails from the windmill? Do you want trails from the stones? What are you looking for? When I say, like, describe to
I'm,
me what you want, this is the type of thing where you could perfectly functionally narrate what you are looking for.
yeah, I'm looking to see if there's trails between the windmill and the stones.
You're probably a little bit too far away to necessarily isolate that at present. But if you want to get closer to it like that, then you guys can go ahead and look for that. Yeah. Is that what are you looking for? You want to see if the witches use the stone?
Yes, that, and if there's new trails and if there's old trails that have fallen into disuse.
All from the windmill to the stones.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you all can close in to the stones, and kind of from within start to see if it seems like there's anybody traveling between the windmill and the stones. And as you look around this area, the grass seems to be just as well grown between the windmill and the cairns as anywhere else. It doesn't appear that this is something that is used by the people of the windmill. What else are you all looking for while you're at the stones? The windmill's probably like 1,000 or so feet away, within a quarter mile of you, much closer than a quarter mile.
I guess I'll just kind of like look at the stones themselves, see do I see any like markings or anything that I would recognize or anything.
Do a religion check. This ring is of 4 stones. They're much larger, like general size, than the other stones that you've come across. I think you probably would have seen the most stones. Oh, Yester Hill. That's what it's called, not Umbridge Hill. You would have seen the most stones on Yester Hill. But they were like short and squat. You saw kind of like a large number, I feel like it was 10 stones in Berez in the swamp. And they were tall and slender. And here you see 4 really tall and wide stones. These are like the largest of them. Um, but there's a sensation of there's almost like the same amount of stone in each of these 3 fanes. That whether they have a lot of smaller stones or less thinner stones or very few big stones, it's the same like amount of monolith that constructs the actual circle itself. But this one in particular, they're all very covered in moss. You're starting to kind of lose the stones almost to the forest as the lichen slowly starts to cover these. They're probably about 50 or 60% covered at this point. And kind of looking around, you do see signs of some of the carvings on these, among which I think you'll kind of pull out that there seems to be almost like 4 different cities, or perhaps a single city in 4 different phases of the year that are kind of represented in these stones. And you can kind of see that there's almost like a spring, a summer, a fall, and a winter.
I guess I'll just like drop down Indian style and like meditate for a second and try to reach out to the sisters.
So as he meditates, does Nunya or Flea have anything that they would like to do? And if not, what are you looking to ask, Sarkis?
Sisters 3, we are at the location of the Huntress stones. We mean to free the third of you, but we do not know where to find the sapphire. Where or who has it? Or how can we find it?
Roll a religion.
I'm not sure it'll make a difference or not, but I would like to add one inspiration to that and make it a 15 with hopes that that's good enough. I feel like 14 is just shy. 15 seems much more confident.
So, while you sit and meditate, the other two are going to see as a raven lands on one of the four stones, and it starts to kind of like peck at an area of the stone. And there'll be a certain level of you still hear the sound of like the beak against the stone, just like kind of barely inside of your meditation. But you still hear kind of a combination of the voice of Madame Eva as well as Arabelle, and sort of in a uniform kind of whisper of wind, you hear that they're locked from this place, that this Fane is desecrated, and it's beyond their power. And then you hear the two of them look to the wife of the Count. She has been created for his pleasure. And let me get an investigation from Nunyan Flea.
Have we heard of anybody but Strahd being referred to as a count?
No, yeah, you guys know he's Count Strahd van Zarovich. As you all kind of look towards where that raven is pecking at the stone, you see that there is just a little remnant of like little cake, which Flea would very quickly recognize as a dream pastry. And on the ground inside of this Fane, there are teeth. They are very particularly children's teeth.
Are the teeth moving?
Are the teeth moving?
Yep.
No, they are not.
I'm going to wait for Sarkis to come out of his meditation, and then I want to bring him over here.
So they're like a pile of teeth? Are they just like laying there? Do they look like bloody, broken? Anything like discernible about these teeth other than that they're small and childlike?
I think it would be more like as you all look through this circle, you see that there are just teeth inside of it, than that there is anything that seems intentional about them, like a pile. Certainly, some of them would be broken, but I don't think you're going to pick up any sort of evidence as to like they're all broken. I think what you're just going to come across is it appears that there's a large collection of children's teeth inside of this Fane.
But I mean, does it look like somebody just like walked out here with a handful of them and just like threw them? Do they appear to be like organized or spaced out or like put in any sort of like
Yeah, that's what I
intentional?
mean. You're not seeing any sort of intentionality. I guess, sure, it would look more like somebody's planting seeds, just kind of scattering them to the wind.
Are there any bones at all laying around, or just teeth?
Just teeth.
To be fair, teeth are also bones.
They are indeed bones. You were about to get a smart-ass response for sure.
Well, I'll just like share with them that the sisters said that this was desecrated and that the last stone probably will be found with his wife who was created for him or whatever. But if these are children's teeth, then we have, we should, we have to stop this. We cannot let this continue on anymore. This is horrible. Do we see any sort of like activity or movement or anything from the windmill? I mean, I'm assuming it doesn't actually work, but we don't see any like sign of the three like witches or whatever they are.
Yeah, at present, looking around, you have a pretty good understanding that no, the windmill doesn't seem to have any activity, and at very least, no activity that can be spotted from this side of it.
We have to try and stop them for the children.
Well, if it looks like the windmill is not inhabited, or at least no activity, should we check out the inside of that windmill?
You definitely know that the windmill was inhabited. It
Yeah,
doesn't look any different than last time.
that was where we ran into like the witch, and she called for her sisters, and they like put Sophia to sleep and tried to lock us in, and we ran away.
Oh yeah, I've still got one of the crumpled up donuts in my pocket.
That's definitely rotten and it's moldy.
Yeah, so I think like try to sneak up to the house and make our way in sneakily. Flea, you've got that second story work, so if there's like a window, maybe we can try to like have you go up and throw us a rope or something. I mean, or we could go in the front door and just try to take them on headstrong.
Are there any upper windows? Are there any upper windows or anything like that?
I am looking. I think it's going to be that the windows are on the first story, like the first floor. But I'm trying to get a better. No, okay. Yeah, it looks like you can spot windows on the second story as well as on a third story. So the windmill itself almost has not quite like a hourglass. Describe it almost like a layered cake kind of thing. You've got like the ground floor, and then there's like a crumbled, destroyed scaffolding that might have almost been like a kind of awning around the circumference of the windmill, and then windows kind of just above that level. And then it almost like bulges outward a little bit as it kind of like, again, this is showing you kind of where like the floor of the third story is. It kind of bulges outward a little bit before it kind of like shapes upward. So like the first and the second level almost shape out and in, and then the third comes out a little bit before it shapes in. And then you can see at the pinnacle there's almost like it looks like almost like a Muslim church kind of top to it, but almost like a dollop of cream on top of something, where you just get like the fat kind of outer layer, and then it comes forward into kind of like a point at the top. But you can basically see that there's probably 4 levels to the windmill itself. The second and the third have windows in the cardinal directions. So you guys are probably looking towards the southerly windows. No, wait a second. The westerly windows.
We know there's 3 of them. We can presume that they're all magic users. We know for sure that one is. They'll try to put us to sleep or get us to eat their treats. We know not to do that. If one of us should fall unconscious, we need to prioritize waking that one back up and make sure that they don't outnumber or overwhelm us. But we should try to strike them as fast as possible and not let them speak, for we know that's most likely how they use their magic. We need to put an end to this for the children.
I can climb up to the 3rd story and look in the windows, 2nd and 3rd, and see what's going on.
Try and find one that you can open and secure a rope and throw it down to us. And then I would say preferably not the least high we have to climb, the better, but
If the 2nd story looks clear, I will drop the rope out of the 2nd story window. So up I go.
Well, let's roll a stealth check to see if you guys can get up to it. So as you all move up to the windmill, you can slowly move into the area. And let's see. I think we're going to go to a map. So I think we will have you all coming in from kind of like the northwest of the windmill here. You all can place yourselves up against it. And then when Flea is ready to climb, you can do a athletics or acrobatics check for me. Yeah, so you can climb up to that 2nd level. You like start to put any level of footing on any of those pieces of wood, and you can feel that they're just asking to fall away. Putting too much weight on one, even just a few pounds, is going to knock it off and likely cause a lot of noise. But yeah, let's get an extra stealth from you there, Flea, as you climb.
Well, that was a good time for a good roll, at least.
Roll a perception as you look inside the window. And which window are you going to?
When we were talking, you said we were coming from the northeast, correct? So I would be northwest. I'm sorry. So I would be going in the northerly window.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was the description that I had was a little bit off. The windmills are actually to the between the cardinal directions. So there is a northwesterly window and then a northeasterly window, or like southwest and southeast.
Northwest.
Does Flea have night vision?
No.
So you're going to look inside. There's a little bit of light scattering from the actual dim light outside. But as you kind of look into this place, you can't really see much more than kind of a landing with stairs that lead upward to the south of you and kind of like southeast to southwest as they climb up. Southwest to southeast as they climb up. And then you can see that there's stairs to the east of you that start to descend. And they basically are descending clockwise. Haha, that's the perfect way to say it. The stairs are descending clockwise, or the stairs that are to the south of you are ascending counterclockwise. And then on that second level, I think you're. Let's see, it's about 5 feet. Yeah, I think it's enough that you can make a wisdom check for me. So you see a large grindstone on the center of this level. You see that the grindstone is working and it's slowly going about the circles and it's grinding. But you've also seen that this windmill is not moving. The wings themselves are not powering this effect.
And there is not enough light for me to see any colors, correct?
Yeah, right now you're looking at extremely shaded things that are like the immediate things in front of you. You are not seeing this whole level of the windmill right now.
Looking in the window, do I see anything I could fasten the rope to?
Like the gigantic grindstone?
Well, it's moving. So, well, the bottom of it wouldn't be moving. That's right.
Or you could put it to the grindstone and it would actually ascend them for them. You'd just be throwing your rope away. But yes, you can definitely attach it to one of those parts of the grindstone.
Okay, I'm going to slip into the window quietly.
Roll a stealth check. And then roll a perception check.
I'm way overdue to roll a 1.
Yeah, so when you step into the room, You're going to hear a voice from within the shadows. Hello, little one. Don't you just look greasy and delightful?
Can we see where we're at that he opened the window? And I'll also, are we able to hear the voice as well?
Roll perceptions at disadvantage. Nunya, perception, please. Disadvantage. And yeah, you can definitely see that he's like opened the window to start going in there. But no, I would say right now you all probably just see like a pause in his movement.
Yes, yes, yes. Crazy and delightful I am.
Well, do come in. Don't let me stop you. What
Well,
can I help
thank
you
you.
for?
Well, thank you. Really neat grindstone you got there.
It's a necessary part of the creation of our flower.
Ah, what do you use for your flower?
Bones.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Roll another perception check, Flea.
I would like to take a couple steps back and try to like peep up to see if I can see what's going on. I want to be like 10 feet away from the tower.
From 10 feet away, I don't think you're gonna get enough. The tower itself is probably like that window. You'd start to almost be able to see like the ceiling that's kind of like immediately above Flea and inside. You would need to be much further back. And even then, you're just going to notice like if you're far enough back to see inside, you're definitely not going to be able to see past the blackness.
Oh yeah, no worries. I just feel like I would like stand back and try to like peep what's going on, like the longer he takes without anything.
So, are the children's bones the best or the old people's bones?
It's not kind to linger when you're breaking into somebody's home. Do you care to chat about the ways of our dream pastries? Or are you breaking in?
I was here to chat.
Roll a deception. Are you keen to bake children into pies?
Ah, yes.
You fled so quickly. You come through the back. Seems nefarious.
No, 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 no,
Delightful.
no. Not at all.
Have you made a decision yet? Are you going to come in? Or are you going to continue to perch in the sill?
Good. Lee is going to backflip off and away from this window.
You are about to get hit by 12 magic missiles.
Well, then I guess I'll just go farther as I jump. So I guess as Flea was backflipping away, he's getting nailed, huh?
Well, technically that's 3 different attacks. So if you'd like, you're getting hit by 7, 9, 13. So 17, then 9, 13, and then 9, 13. So 17, 13, 13. I think if you're going to use your reaction to reduce something, it's probably the first hit anyways. So you can take, was that 8, 13, 13. So 26, 34 damage in force damage as you leap out. And roll a perception check. Eight of those magic missiles came from the floor above you. And I think the 2 of you below would see all of those missiles flying out at the same time and hitting Flea as he leaps out.
Sucks to be flat.
Were you unconscious before the ground?
No.
Roll a dexterity saving throw. Or rather, you can, yeah, dexterity saving throw.
Oh, it wouldn't.
Wouldn't what?
For the backflip.
What about the backflip?
Oh,
I'm hearing half of what you're saying. You need to hold the button a little bit longer. What are you trying to ask, Flea?
should I be? I thought it would be an acrobatic saving throw.
Acrobatics is a check. Dexterity is the saving throw.
I want to add 4 of my inspirations to this.
You don't have to add that until after you roll. Are you still doubting it?
No.
All right, so as you leap back, you are able to maintain the balance, and you land yourself in the superhero poser stance. That's the best part to come out of the new Black Widow movie. You're such a poser. And you're back down on the ground.
Guys, let's get the hell out of here. And Flea is moving away, saying, "Let's go, guys. There's unfriendlies in there." And Flea is
If you go into the cog in the bottom left side of Discord, you should be able to go into user settings under voice and audio, and or voice and video, and extend the push to talk release delay just a little bit longer. everything you say is getting cut off for me at least.
Will do. Flea is noticeably bloodied.
Is everybody pretty much back at this point?
I'm back.
Yep, still here.
I'm here.
Excellent. So as we move forward, we're still kind of picking up in that same moment of Flea leaping out of the window and essentially on some level kind of saying it's time to go. And it's Sarkis's opportunity to react here.
Dude, there's 3 of them up there.
I mean, are we like picking up now in initiative order? Like, I don't understand what you want us to do now.
We are in initiative order, yes.
All right, I'm just gonna move towards the front door, and I will, I guess, just hold an action to attack if anything comes out.
Gotcha. And Flea, what would you like to do?
I'm going to back up. I'm going to follow Sarkis and back him up.
And then to Nunya, assuming you're doing kind of the same, holding an action if something exits the door.
Actually, I'm staying by the window. Is there like anyone peeking? Is there anyone peeking out from the window?
No, my bad. Yeah, I was meant with Flea. I was assuming he was doing the same thing, holding the action.
Yes.
So as you hold off on that back window, you don't seem to see anything inside of the window.
Okay. Then I'm going to move towards the front door, but about 15 feet, about southwestish from Sarkis's left.
Just move yourself there. Flea as well, you can move yourself wherever you were going. So I feel like that means you're using your action with Nunya to move there, to dash.
Yeah.
So as they gather back up behind you, Sarkis, it's on you to act.
All right, I'm just gonna try to break the door, or I like muscle it open, whatever.
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to like force the door open, or are you trying to just break it open?
I mean, if I grab the door handle and it's unlocked, I'll just open the door. If I grab it and it's not, I'll try to like kick it open.
Yep, when you go for it, it's open. You're going to see a pretty similar sight of a large room, about 20 by 20, stairs going up on the northeast side in a counterclockwise spiral. There's a small cage in the center, as well as a small cart. The cart still has some pastries on it, and I think you're going to see that there are two small children in the cage. And then there's the hearth to the southwest, and I think some of the other stuff is just going to look like just general kind of like kitchen ware. And then
So is it an object interaction or action to like open the door?
that's like the free action, basically.
And I don't see anybody on this floor as of the moment.
Yeah, at present you can't see anybody, and you don't see like any feet like coming down the stairs. From where you're at right now, there's no sign of anybody being here.
Is there like a ceiling on the first floor, or is like the whole inside like exposed and it's like a spiral staircase through the middle?
You're gonna have a ceiling through most everything, and I feel like the spiral is maybe like the last 5 feet or so before it gets to the next landing.
It just went all black.
Yeah, so there's open ceiling above the staircase. So pretty much from your perspective, there's a full ceiling across what, like 80%, 85% of this ceiling. And yeah, I don't think you can really see the railing from it, but you can basically see that the staircase doesn't really have ceiling above it.
Okay, I got you. I'm going to run in to the cage. And what is it? Is there like a lock on it or something?
I think it has a lock, kind of like a padlock.
I'm gonna just try to break the lock off, like punch it with my hand.
Roll a unarmed strike. Yeah, I feel like that seems sufficient enough that you are able to punch it, and as you kind of channel your key through it, just kind of shatter the locking mechanism, and it just clicks and falls open.
Like, are the kids like conscious? Are they like looking up at me scared? Like, what's going on?
Looking around, yeah, the two kids are both looking at you. Each of them are kind of like eyes welling up with tears. They don't know what to make of it at first, but as you crack the lock, I think you're going to see at least the first shreds of them being kind of elated. But in general, at present, they have far more fear than anything in their eyes.
All right, I'm just gonna yell, "There's kids in here! We have to get them out!" And then I guess that pretty much used my action on the attack. So if I can open the door on the cage, I will. If not, uh,
Yeah, I feel like on some level that's viable, to still open the door. but I think that'll use up pretty much your action economy. I don't think that would leave you with a bonus or anything either.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And then I'm gonna take like 5 feet step back away from the door, just like kind of behind the stairs. I imagine I'd be like out of view.
Let me get a perception check from Flea and Nunya at disadvantage, please. So Nunya and Sarkis are going to hear from above. Going for the kids! They're freeing the children! And then it will go to Flea.
Flea is going to move up to the door and tell the kids to run out and step to the one side of the door. Run, kids, run, get out, get out.
What's your dexterity on Nunya?
15.
Gotcha. So you see as the first one, like, slowly, no, I think, like, frantically, like, kind of claws her way over the one closest to the exit. And she's going to, like, make her way out of the cage, kind of looks around for a moment, and then she is going to run towards the outside of the windmill. And then you'll see as she kind of like slides and almost falls back on her butt as she sees Nunya outside.
She just motions for the children and they keep running.
One of them is going to start to walk down the steps, and they're incredibly silent until you start to hear a moment of words from her lips. And I need a wisdom saving throw from Flea. You feel for a moment as your hairs start to bristle, and then you feel normal. And it's going to go to Nanya.
Uh, she moves closer to the door. And are the witches visible from the stairs?
Yep, the one is visibly on the stairs right now. You don't see anything else right now other than Sarkis and Flea inside to the left, and you've got the boy is still inside of the cage on the ground.
Alright, so I'll move up to her onto the stairs and I'll attack her with a short sword.
Go ahead and roll that attack. She's just going to kind of move to the side and just like deflect your sword away from her with the palm of her hand. Should have extra attack if you'd like to make another one.
I don't think I could do 2-weapon fighting with short swords.
No, I think you have extra attack right now. After level 5, doesn't a ranger have extra attack? Pretty sure you do. And if you have 2 short swords, you can use your bonus action as well, because they are light weapons. Yep, you've got extra attack.
Okay, yeah, I just saw that. Alright. I'll go
And
with
you've got
with
2
the
short swords.
yeah, I'll go with the double short sword.
No, like you can technically make 3. She's going to do the same, just deflecting that one with her other palm. And then this would be the one that would be a bonus action. And Colossus Slayer, does she have to have already taken damage?
Yes, because that's be below a maximum HP.
Gotcha. So your third attack is, and that one will not have your bonus. So I think that one's just going to be 4-5 damage. You're just going to kind of cut across her arm. As she blocks the other one, you're able to get your offhand in there to get a swipe in and just kind of like cut the underside of her flesh. And you'll see a little wince of pain as she eyes you. Any other movement? Otherwise, it will go to one of the others. As you move away from her, she is going to swipe out at you. Just with a claw. And she's going to dig her claws into your flesh. And leave you with 13 points of slashing damage as you step away from her.
And with defensive duelist, it adds a +3 to my AC, so I'll bring it up to a 16.
Yeah, I hit you with an 18, and she's got a pretty high plus to hit.
Okay, and it was 18 damage.
13 damage. I think the boy was afraid as well. He's gonna make his way to try to hands and knees crawl out of the cage before he stands up, and he's going to run past Flea, trip over the muffin cart, and make his way out. And you're going to see as another of the women kind of pops up behind her sister, and she is going to start to mutter some words before you see her hand pulling a black shade together, and she's going to point out at Nunya. Make a wisdom saving throw for me. And you're going to feel as your face starts to prickle, a little bit of pain from your face as you start to draw in a breath, and there's a little and after a moment you are going to turn into a boar. And then that's going to take it around to Sarkis.
If I move to right there, how high or far away from me are they?
The one north of you might be a little bit beyond your normal reach, but say what? That's just a few feet basically above the next floor, so maybe 8 feet above you. Whereas the one to the northeast of you is probably 4.5 to 5 feet above you. But on some level, you're pretty much in combat with them, both. The real thing is you might be slight, height wise, too far away from the one to the north.
All right, gotcha. I'm gonna do unarmed strike against the one that is north east of me. I think I'm gonna do 11. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just let that one go.
Yeah, she's just gonna step aside of it.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna do the second one. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna try to do my one inspiration point onto that and make it a 12 and see if it hits.
She's still going to be able to deflect that to the side.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do bonus action. And I'm gonna do flurry of blows for my bonus action.
Striking out, you're going to get a solid connection with that hit.
All right, and I'm gonna apply a stunning strike to that one. 14 is my thing.
It's con save. You're going to see as she seems to be acting normally.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna do one more attack against her.
Key, I added a boar to your character sheet. If you click over to extras, that fury blows will hit as well.
And I'm gonna try one more stunning strike on her.
And you said your DC is 14?
Yeah, 14.
And it's Constitution?
It is Constitution, yeah, I believe.
You're going to see as her muscles tense up and she freezes.
And I'll just yell out, the first one is stunned. And did I see which one cast the spell on Kavi or no?
Roll a perception at disadvantage.
Yeah, I was like around the corner, so I don't know if I would have been able to tell.
I think on some level you can understand that the one that you just stunned was likely the one that was casting at Flea, and then the second one to kind of show herself is likely who cast at Kavi.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's all my actions. If I move right now, am I considered engaged with both of them right now?
I mean, I kind of put that it's up to you to decide whether you'd like to move or not. On some level, you think you might be.
Well,
As
I
far
guess
as-
I guess honestly, all that matters is the one that I stunned that I'm engaged with. So that's all that matters, really. The other one is kind of irrelevant. So, yeah, okay.
Let's see. So as one leaps from overhead, like over the railing above you and down onto the stairs, she's going to catch her balance and look over to Sarkis. And just as she points out with her right finger, she's going to start chanting a spell that is now going to be rather familiar to the three of your ears. And I need a wisdom saving throw from you, Sarkis. Meets beats. You feel as whiskers start to feel almost as if they get a little more solid on your face. And then, nope, that's just my mustache. Nothing happens. And it's going to go to Flea.
Flea is going to rush the northeast witch that is stunned with a double dagger attack.
First attack is going to miss. As you're like rolling over Sarkis, you just can't quite get it. The second attack, you're going to have a solid strikeout at her.
But if she's stunned, don't I have?
You rolled a 10 and an 11 to hit. That's absolute trash.
Yeah, I mean, not to be meta, but we know that 12 or less definitely misses because I had an 11 and I +1'd it and it still missed.
I should have added to it, but that's that.
Al, if you look on your character sheet under your actions, I created a bonus action for your dagger that does not add your +3, and that's what your second attack would be, is the bonus action dagger. Because without taking a feat, you don't add your dexterity to that second one's damage. One of the children is going to run away, and then that hag is frozen, and it's going to go to Nunya the boar. Did you see where I added the boar for you?
Yeah.
Oh, and also, Flea, I am assuming you are moving off of Sarkis. If you do not move off of him, I think you might cause damage.
Oh, I'm definitely not going to cause damage to Sarkis. I will get off him.
So where are you going with Flea, and then what are you doing with the boar?
Does the boar have tusks?
Oh, that's what I mean. If you click on the boar, you can see your attacks.
I'm assuming, like, considering it's at elevation, they're about like 20 feet from me because I'm on the ground floor.
I mean, with the stairs, it's technically just 5 feet. Was the boar a small creature, or is that a medium creature?
Medium.
Yeah, so it would take you 30 feet to move up to them, and you would end up taking damage from stopping in their space. Which, quite honestly, that's a ploy to get out of your form, but it is there.
Oh, no, it just says, like, if I move at least 20 feet straight forward and charge the target, it adds an extra 1d6. Or an extra 3 1d6.
What's the boar's movement speed?
40.
Yeah, so if you move back to here, that's 5, then that's 10, 20, 30, 40 feet, and that's a 20-foot charge because it's 5, like where you were from, 5 on the next switch, 5 on the next switch, and then 5 on the last switch. So that uses all of your movement to go there.
Uh, so I would I still be able to do the charge attack then, or no?
No, that's what I was saying. That's what it takes to move 20 feet, is that you have to move away 5 feet first. But you would like have to move to the circle to start your charge.
All right, I'll do that then.
So as you step out of combat with the witch to the south, she is not going to strike out at you. You can charge on through them. I feel like that's if it hits, it does the strength saving throw to maintain balance and not fall prone. It still needs an attack. Either roll a d20 and just tell me the bonus, or it might be like on like the left-hand side of that boar character sheet.
I mean, I just hit the charge attack. I think it's just like an automatic.
Definitely
Yeah,
not an automatic.
if the target is a creature, it must succeed on DC 11 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
That should just be like an additional benefit to the attack, but you still make like a
And
normal
it hits with the tusk attack. So roll the tusk attack. Yep, that's going to miss. Because you got a +3, it's a 9. So the boar, I think, has 11 hit points. You are going to lose 5 hit points for stopping in that space. And I think that's going to go to... Where are we? I feel like I skipped one. Oh, the boy is going to run away, and then... Witch that is on top of the boar. She's going to finish her way down the stairs. So she's going to point over at Flea and start to... Oh no, she can't do that right now.
boar ally. You should be able to make a opportunity attack while she like moves out of your reach.
Yeah, the boar can op attack her. My bad. The other two of you don't have the op. Yeah, I think she's going to weave the same spell over Flea, and as she starts to chant, there's just going to be like a dusting of like ethereal cakes that kind of float down over everybody. Are you going to make the op attack from the boar? That will hit for 4. think I need a con save from the boar, and then probably flee. Oh, wait, there's not even a save for sleep? How many hit points do you have right now, Flea?
27.
Oh, it's disappointing. I could have put you to sleep. The boar is going to fall asleep. And then it's going to go to Sarkis.
I'm not sure, but is that a concentration spell? Sleep?
No.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I'm going to attack. I'm going to go for the... Yeah, I'm going to attack the one that's directly east of me. Or no, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, the southeast one, the one that cast the spell on copy. That made her the boar. That should be the southeast one, right?
Gotcha. It
Okay,
is
yeah,
indeed.
that's the one I'm going for. And then I want to apply a stunning strike to that one.
She would seem to be unaffected.
Okay, and then I'm going to do my second attack. I'm going to do my second attack against the one that is, yeah, that same one again.
And was that third just a misclick?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't see it rolled the second one. Yeah, that was not supposed to be an intentional attack.
So the second will hit, and she still appears to be maintaining concentration.
Okay, and I'm going to try to apply a stunning strike again to that one.
And she seems to be still in control of her muscles.
All right, and then I'm going to bonus action, and I'm just going to attack the one that's stunned, I guess.
With a solid strike to her. I think you attack knees often enough to her knee. You kind of buckle it a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm going to yeah, I'm going to try to stun her again.
And she's going, well, you can't actually tell right now.
And then I'm gonna yell out to Flea. Attack the one that cursed Kavi! The southern one! And that's the end of my turn. Oh, sorry, I meant Nunya.
The one to the east of Sarkis is going to start to point out towards the two of you as she starts to focus her vision in slowly chanting. She's going to start to weave a black mist in little concentric circles with her finger, and like as she's like pointing, and each time like extends her finger and kind of brings it back as she's making these circles. And then you're going to see as she points out one last time, finishing the chant, and these little dangles of rope are going to start to fall around Flea. I need a wisdom saving throw. And
you can assume that you probably need a 14 to pass this, roughly.
Can I add 4?
You most certainly can. How many will that leave you with? Have you used everything else?
I still have 3.
So as the ropes start to tighten around you, they seem to dissipate into the air. And what would you like to do, Flea?
Attack the southernmost witch. Hag.
All right, whoa, you gotta slow down on some of that stuff. Your second damage didn't have an attack associated with it. So that offhand dagger got the damage associated with that. I think it's the exact same roll of damage. Yep, 22 damage to her.
Does she look bloodied?
She indeed looks exactly the same as she did when you all first saw her. You actually wonder how effective the daggers really are against her.
Alrighty.
I think that's your action and your bonus. Do you have any movement you'd otherwise like to do? Otherwise, it's going to go to...
I'm staying where I am.
Another one is going to... The one in the northeast is going to chant a similar spell and try to, once again, slowly wrapping these little ethereal bands before throwing it out at Flea. Another wisdom saving throw, please.
I'm not going to bother adding anything to that.
And you're going to see as Flea's body becomes stiff and he stops moving. And that's going to go to Nunya. Oh, you are asleep. Is there one at the end of your turn? don't think you have anything to stop that. It's going to go to Merganta. And I think she is just going to strike out at Sarkis with her claw. 18 should hit. She's going to do 8 slashing damage as she cuts through you with her claw.
Affirmative.
And then it will be on you.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the one most north of me is the one that did that to Flea.
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the southern one with my first attack, unarmed strike.
Solid hit.
I'm going to attempt a stunning strike on her.
And she seems unaffected.
All right, and then I'm doing my second attack against the same one again.
And she's going to be able to dodge out of the way as she just moves away from your strike.
All right, and then I'm going to flurry of blows against the one that is that same one again. And the second one of the flurry, I'm going to do healing hand on Flea.
That will hit. She's almost able to get out of the way. You guys are getting closer to her AC with that strike.
Wait,
still maintains.
Did you say she was able to get out of the way, or she was almost able to get out of the way?
She was almost able to.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I just mean
okay.
18, I think, is the closest I've seen you guys actually get to, like, figuring out, like, where you just hit without just going into the 20s. I feel like you guys have skipped where her AC.
You're going to get that point, and also, when this touchdown, I can cure. Makes me feel I could also end one of these or one of the following conditions: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. So if he's paralyzed or stunned, he should be healed.
He's paralyzed. If you hear that, it's still hard to hear you out. You're finished here.
You're like
Just
breaking up or cutting out or something.
yes, you can
We can't know what you're saying. Mike is like breaking up or cutting out or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. She's still fighting me.
Oh wait, now Kavi's doing it. Is it my computer?
You're clear now.
I heard you fine, Flea. Maybe it was something with my computer.
No, I was trying to tell Justin that his Discord was breaking up, and it was definitely mine. So yeah,
Oh, I can hear you fine now. Yeah.
yeah, I closed it and restarted it. So Flea is unparalyzed with that. You can cure that paralyzed because essentially hold person creates the paralyzed condition. I don't see why that wouldn't cure it.
Nice. Yeah, so that's it for me.
All right, so we're probably getting close to where we're going to call this here. I feel like maybe go through this round of initiative, but I also want to bring up at this point there should be somewhat of recognition that these are a very strong foe, and at some point you guys need to be assessing whether you have the resources to take them out. Because you're still not seeing any of them like showing signs of being bloodied. The witch to the east of Sarkis is going to try once again. She's going to start to weave these tiny black circles and try to flick it over the body of Sarkis and try to tie you up. If you can do a wisdom saving throw. And they'll start to tie up around your body and start to shrink up on your person until they just dissipate and fall off of you. And it's going to go to Fleet.
Southernmost half.
Just going to make out with her. Ooh, Morgantha.
I'm going to stab
Your
her.
900-year-old lips look so good. As you strike out at her, she's able to move out of the way of your blow. And then as you cross her over with your offhand, you're able to connect. Any movement from you, Fleet?
No. Sorry. We're outmatched.
I think the next one is going to kind of move up over the sleeping boar. And as she weaves this dark light between her hands, there's like a crackle of this black, and the weave starts to fold between her fingers, and she's going to push it out, and it's going to arc and crack as lightning is going to strike out from Sarkis and into the wall of the windmill. And I need a dexterity saving throw from the two of you. So I think Sarkis will take no damage because you've got evasion, and you will pass with that. And Flea, what's your roll? And Flea as well, as the two of you are able to get out of the way of this blast. It's just going to arc past you, and you can just smell like that charred. Oh man, I think ozone is like a charred flesh almost. But you can smell like the lightning in the air, despite it having almost like a black radiance to it. And it's gonna go to Nunya the boar. My bad. She is still sleeping. We got the. Let's see. I think she is going to step away from Sarkis.
I'm gonna do an unarmed strike.
And I want to do an
She's not
opportunity
stepping away
attack.
from you. And there we go. You've connected with their AC. That is the exact thing that you are just able to strike into her as she steps away from you. And she's going to weave the same arcane spell and strike out again at the two of you with lightning. And another dexterity saving throw from both of you. And once again, you guys are like able to dance out of the way of the lightning itself and avoid any sort of damage from it. And it's gonna go to Sarkis.
And does she need a con save for that op attack?
Oh, yeah. Still maintained.